Welcome to the podcast from Doug Ground Up Productions with hosts Lady Miz and Ray. This is a universal platform, and there is nothing off limits. We talk about it all, and we keep it real. This is a no judgment zone, so come as you are. If you are a professional, entertainer, author, comedian, entrepreneur, or just someone who wants to get something off their chest, well, let your voice be heard here on From the Ground Up Productions. Sponsorship and other opportunities are available from the Ground Up Productions. Turning nothing into something. There's only one way to go from here. And now, here are your hosts, Lady Miz and Ray.
What's up, everybody? You know what it is. This is From the Ground Up Productions. I'm Lady Miz. And there's only one way to go from here. Today, I am super excited because I have a special guest in the building. Yes, we do. We have a powerhouse who turned her pain into purpose. She is a former recording artist. She is fierce. She's a fierce advocate, I should say, and the founder of Seize the Cure Epilepsy. Please welcome to the show the inspiring and unstoppable and unapologetically real TJ Vida, aka Tara Gibson. What's good?
What's up? I love that intro. You should do my bio.
I will. Holla at me. Listen, so I'm so glad to have you on the show. I know we've been trying to coordinate this for a minute now, and we said we going to just go live with it, y'all. So this is live in full effect. So first, let me just ask you before we get into everything, how are you doing today?
I'm alive, so I'm good.
Okay.
A little tired, overwhelmed, got a lot going on, but it's all good. It's all for good cause and good reason. So
yes, absolutely. And you traveled pretty far and flew out here. Did you fly?
No, we drove for the first time. This is the first time driving. The most I've ever driven is maybe 4 hours.
Oh wow!
So this was a 17-hour drive. My friend / sister met me in Florida. She took a flight and we drove together. So 17 hours. We just checked into the hotel yesterday.
Okay.
So it's been constant movement ever since.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know what? Shout out to you, because that's when you know you really pushing for a cause that you believe in, which is what we're going to get into. But before we do that, I want to first introduce you to people who may not know you, may not know your backstory, because you have a business, but you started off as a artist first, a recording artist. Right. So let's first start with the backstory of who TJ Vida is.
Yes.
All right. So my first question to you would be, before the mission in the movement, who was Tara Gibson and how did you become TJ Vida?
You know what? I'm still trying to find who Tara Gibson is.
Okay.
Because when you're playing so many roles and you're going through life trying to survive and manage everything, you forget who you are and you don't get to focus on yourself.
Okay.
And with TJ Vida, I created that. I've been singing since I was very, very, very young. My parents put me in vocal lessons. I sing R&B and pop.
Okay.
So they put me in vocal lessons. And, you know, in the beginning, I sang more for local officials, politicians, weddings, things like that. I didn't get really heavy into music until about, I would say, 2014.
Okay.
And TJ Vida means my nickname. Those are my initials for my first and middle name, Tara Jean. I can't stand my middle name. That's another story.
Okay.
So they call me that my whole life, TJ. And then Vida means life.
Oh,
so Vida is Spanish and it means life in English. So I take a lot of pride in that name because it has meaning, you know, rather than just go surviving through life, you want to live life to actually enjoy living.
Absolutely.
And music is therapy. Music is a connection to how I feel. Unfortunately, I have not focused on that recently.
Okay.
And even in starting TJ Vida, I was with a group duo. And my partner at that time, you know, we fell out, and it was more of a personal thing mixed with business, and it kind of ruined everything. So now I'm starting from scratch as a solo artist.
Oh, okay.
And with my business for Caesar Cure for Epilepsy, that's kind of taken the front seat. So now when I finish this event that we're going to talk about, I'm going to focus on TJ Vida.
Got you. Okay, well, I can't wait. You got to pull up, and when you coming up, we gonna need the exclusive here. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. So my next question is, what did your music mean to you then, and does it still play a role in your life today?
It's always meant something. Given the fact that I had put my personal relationship and situation at that time as a priority.
Okay.
I did not get to do what I wanted to do for me as TJ Vida.
Okay.
But I did majority of the work when it came to picking the beat, arranging, writing. And, you know, I just didn't put it out there because at that time when you're a group, you just don't, it doesn't matter who's doing what.
Right.
Music for me, though, it has to have a meaning. It has to have a message. If not, it's just useless. Now I've been through so much in the past, I would say 5 to 8 years. I would say 8 years. I have so much that has happened that I can write and do music for probably 3 albums worth.
Wow.
Just in singing about what I've been through.
Okay.
And now that I've transitioned into more of a spiritual, rather than therapy, rather than medication for depression, I turn to God. Okay. So I'm seeing things from a whole different perspective, and putting that into my music, that's what I plan to do.
Nice. So what when you say you turn to God, is it gospel that you will be creating? Is it R&B? Like, are you in a certain category?
R&B. Okay. Still R&B/pop. I'm looking for a really, really good producer to give me the right freestyle beat, because I really want to do a freestyle. Like, you don't see that anymore.
Oh,
even in our Latin, you know, in our artists who are Hispanic, they're not doing that. We haven't heard. When's the last time you heard a freestyle song? Probably the 80s, 90s.
Yes, it's been a long time. I mean, you barely hear R&B that much on the radio in today's time. For real,
music isn't the same anymore.
It's not.
And that's what I want to bring back. I want to bring back, you know, it's not about your performance. It's not about the beat. It's about what you're singing about and how you're delivering it.
Okay. All right. I like that. Well, we'll be looking forward to that.
Yes.
and I could probably link you with some producers and see if it works out. Hopefully it does.
Yeah. We're going to talk.
Okay. Last question about the music, and then we're going to get into your journey with your business. How did your experience in the music industry prepare you for what you're doing now with Caesar Cure?
It's created an outlet of working with a lot of different artists that are, you know, when you go to events, music events, everyone is an entertainment, and the sole purpose is just for that entertainment. Okay. But when it comes to working with a cause, I have connected with so many artists that have either have a situation that relates to epilepsy, seizures, or they know someone, or they have it themselves, or they just want to support what it is that I'm doing. Okay. And it's amazing how many artists I actually have met that are affected by epilepsy/seizures and don't talk about it. Right. So that has encouraged me. The fact that this is going to be the 9th event that I'm doing. I have never had any chance to perform at my own events. Will you be performing at this event coming up? I am attempting to. Okay. And when I say that, it's because being that I'm in charge of the event, everybody else comes first. Yes, of course. You know, if anything goes with timing, or you know, someone wants to speak at the last minute, that the cause is about epilepsy, not me singing. But I do plan to sing. Okay. I actually plan to perform a song that I'm working on, my first solo song. Really? Yes. I plan to give a little taste of it, just a little taste. Okay. All right. So that's the plan for now.
Okay, well, hey, listen, I respect the fact that you said, you're putting the cause first. Although the other thing is your passion, it's still like you have a deeper meaning with what you're doing. And I respect that. That's what's up. Okay, so now let's talk about the epilepsy journey, right? What moment sparked the creation of Seeds to Cure Epilepsy? And was there a personal experience that made this fight your purpose?
That's a very interesting question. I have epilepsy myself. I don't talk about it. I'm very well controlled. My seizures are more absent seizures. So sometimes you may find in talking to me, I may kind of pause at a certain point. I have a hard time getting my thoughts out. But other than that, I'm very well controlled by the grace of God. Now, my son, who is now 23 today, happy birthday, Malik.
Oh, happy birthday.
He was diagnosed with refractory epilepsy, which is epilepsy that is not controlled by medications, even surgeries. He's doing very well. I will say that. In comparison to what he went through the past couple of years from when he was 13. But he started off with the same symptoms that you would find in ADHD, lack of focus, impulsiveness. And they wanted to label him, the school wanted to evaluate him. And because I know that epilepsy exists and these symptoms are very common similar to ADHD, his father and I took him to get evaluated. A neurologist diagnosed him with epilepsy. And at that time, he was having the same kind of seizures that I have, which are more absent seizures. Now,
you have what?
Absent seizures, petit mal. So the kind that, it's pretty much just to explain what that is.
Right. Yeah.
You think of someone unconscious, you're thinking of them falling to the ground and not being coherent. They're not responding. Right. A person who is having a petit mal seizure, they're staring at you and they freeze. They completely freeze and their eyes are open. They may be completely stiff and you can clap or you can try to tell them to snap out of it. They're not going to respond. They're still looking at you, but they're unconscious with their eyes open. That's how I like to describe it for people.
So someone that is watching this happen, are you saying that we would not know like what is actually going on?
You probably wouldn't know.
Wow.
I'm not sure if you explained it, but what is epilepsy so that people who don't know understand?
Yes.
Epilepsy is a neurological disorder that affects the brain, and the main symptoms is seizures. And there are over 40 types of seizures. The main ones that are discussed are your convulsions, where the person may fall to the ground, eyes roll behind their head, foam at the mouth or vomit, some pee on themselves, and a seizure can last from anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. The longer the seizure, the more effects there are. Of course, where they have a seizure or convulsion is risky because obviously if you have one while you're swimming or walking by a train track or crossing the street, the risk of injury is very high. And of course, brain damage. So it's the fourth most common neurological disorder there is. There is no cure for it. The fight is finding treatment management that can help the person live the most possible normal life.
Okay. Wow. You would think with all the stuff that they have, that they would have come up with something as far as a cure. You know what I mean? You would think that.
Well, I think there's a cure to everything.
Okay. I seen you looking. I did. I was like, where we going with that?
I think there's a cure to everything, but we both know what falls with that.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. All right. That's deep. So hold on, because I just want to make sure. Okay. For those who don't fully understand epilepsy, what do you want them to know? Not from like a textbook standpoint, but from your heart. So we have an understanding. Ray just asked what it means, so that just in case there was somebody out there who do not know what it meant. But what does it, you know what I mean? Like from
how
you,
important
from
it
your,
is,
yeah,
so
from you, from your heart.
Epilepsy is a lot more common than we know. seizures themselves, I started Seize the Cure in 2017. And you know what? Just to go back before I answer that question, because I kind of went away from what you asked me.
Yeah, no problem.
The moment that made me start Seize the Cure was when my son's convulsion started. And it got to the point that we thought it was just going to be one. He came home from the hospital and he had his first seizure. I didn't know what I was looking at. So I panicked to the point that I was looking for the phone to call 911. And I had the phone in my hand the whole time. I didn't even know he was having a seizure. I thought he was trying to make his sister laugh. And I kept telling him to stop. And when I went up to him and I noticed that I looked at his eyes and he wasn't responding and he was violently shaking, eyes rolling behind the head, started foaming. That's when I realized something was very wrong.
Okay.
So, interestingly, the first event in 2017, I had one day just woke up and I said, you know what? I'm in music. Let me do an event for a cause. Because I've always seen artists do that. And I said, let me do an event for a cause. So I picked up the phone. I Googled the Epilepsy Foundation of New York.
Okay.
And the director picked up and I said, I know you don't know me and I don't know you and I have no idea what I'm doing, but I would like to do an event for, epilepsy awareness. And, from there, that's where it started.
Okay.
Interestingly, my son was in the hospital during that first event. So that's what sparked it. I think that was God. Just one day said, you know what, you got to do something with this. And this is very early. This is like probably 2000. My son was like 13 years old at the time. So I had no idea how deep this was going to go. Now, what is so important about epilepsy is not just epilepsy, but seizure safety awareness.
Okay.
You do not have to have epilepsy to have seizures.
Oh, can you explain that to us? Because that's not something that I knew either. Yeah.
This is something I started incorporating into Seize the Cure. Because as I went along and doing my research and meeting people, I realized that you don't have to have epilepsy to have seizures, meaning there are external factors.
Okay. Drug
use, alcoholism. And with drug use and alcoholism, I'm not talking about you being a drug addict or a regular alcoholic. You can try a drug one time and have a seizure. You can try alcohol one time and have a seizure. Pregnancy, hormonal changes. Yes. And what they don't talk about is not just drug use and alcohol, but when they're trying to have you go through withdrawal, they don't tell you one major side effect in withdrawal are seizures.
Really?
There are other underlying conditions that can cause seizures, other medications, psychiatric medication. The main symptom is seizures.
Psychiatric
medication.
Wow.
They cause seizures. And the interesting part about that is if you're on medication for epilepsy, it causes mental health issues, psychiatric issues. So there's a clash between those two. Yeah.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Are you against or for medication? Because I know sometimes people need it, but knowing what it can do, knowing the side effects, knowing all of these things, being a person who also has epilepsy and have your child has it.
Right.
Are you for or against the medicine?
I'm very glad you asked that question. You're probably the first person that ever asked me that.
Wow.
Part of the years of going through this with my son is learning what's out there and everything I've been through with him from the point of him being 13 to now. And kids normally go through their phases, they go through their changes, and that's normal. So having epilepsy and going through these normal changes, it has a huge effect. So when you go to a doctor for the first time, the first thing the doctor tells you is, your child is diagnosed and we're going to try this medication. So he's been on a number of medications. I will say that I don't necessarily agree with medication unless it's really needed. In order to know it's really needed, look for more natural ways. Do your research, because a lot of these medications are debilitating. And I remember his father and I took him to a neurologist, and I didn't know what the problem was with this woman, but this doctor, excuse me. And I just didn't like her. I got a very bad vibe. And I had to do the unthinkable. She was saying that I never recorded my son having a convulsion. So she's not sure if he's really having them. So she's tried him on so many medications. At that point, I was just fed up. I'm like, none of these medications are working. And I think it's time that we start looking more aggressively into CBD oil or even medical marijuana if needed. But start with CBD oil because he was still a minor and I didn't want to mess with the medical marijuana yet. And she was against it. She told me that, it's her first reasoning for being against it was that it's very expensive, which I felt very offended. I felt like that was her place to decide what's expensive for me. So she says, well, I haven't seen him have a seizure. And, I think it may be more psychiatric because there are seizures now that they have labeled, they have as a part of seizures that are more psychiatric seizures. So when she said that he had to come into the hospital for his regular video EEG monitoring, which is a good 3 to 5 days, I said, well, you know what? If this hospital is going to make a dime more off of this insurance and your pocket is going to make more, then we're going to trigger a seizure in the hospital. And that's what we had to do.
So, wow. Whoa. So you knew what to do to trigger it, to bring it on.
I made them put a bike in the room. I made sure my son did not eat and that he was hungry to bring his blood sugar down. I didn't let him sleep. I let him play his video games. And at that time, he was ecstatic. I mean, he was playing video games to the point that he didn't want to play anymore. And by day 4, I put him on the bike. And within not even a minute, he started convulsing.
Wow.
That was the hardest thing I ever had to do.
To bring that on with your child. Yeah.
So and the reason I did that wasn't to prove a point to the doctor. It's that there's a lot of misdiagnosing going on because of this right here. And in order for him to get the accurate treatment, he has to be properly diagnosed. And they were trying to say that he wasn't having seizures. So
wow.
Medication, a lot of times it does more damage than actually help if you're not doing your research and looking into things, and also getting to know someone with epilepsy. You need to get to know the person and what their triggers are.
Right.
So you could try to eliminate the severity of the seizure and also the amount of seizures.
So everyone has different triggers. Okay. Yeah. Because, most of the time, most people who are not educated on this, they look at it as a one size fit all type of thing. You hear like flashing lights and things like that can bring it on. So, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, and your triggers can change over time.
Wow.
So, as we're talking about a young person that's a young teenager, as they become an adult, their body changes and their triggers change. I know someone that once she started being intimate and that's when she started having seizures, she can't have sex.
What?
Yes.
Whew.
It's
that gotta be a
yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to put look. I'm just saying, y'all, look.
Yeah, I literally and the reason I met her was because I do a workshop every month on the Wake Up Everybody Network.
Okay.
And my last 2 episodes were strictly about intimacy and seizures. I try to keep it away from epilepsy because a lot of people, when they hear the word epilepsy, they think, well, I don't have that, or I don't know anybody that has that. I don't know what it is, so it doesn't apply. So I try to keep it more to the seizures.
Okay.
And we talked about when should you tell your partner that you have a seizure disorder, and how it affects intimacy. So there are seizures that are related to orgasms.
Wow.
And she said, once she became an adult and started becoming intimate with her partner, that's when the seizure started.
I wonder, and I know this is about somebody else. Did that affect her relationship? Because
at the time it did.
How people
she's not
are
with the person anymore. And she's scared to even commit, get into that. She does if she's dating and it gets to that point, she does let the person know, because it's too much of a risk for the person not knowing.
Right.
And not knowing what to do. But it's very interesting. At my last event, which was in 2024 in April, and she's going to speak again at this event. She actually,
the one you have coming up on the 28th of June.
On the 28th of June, she actually had a seizure while standing. It was one that she was completely unconscious, but she was standing with her eyes open. Her trigger, from what I found out, is the iPhone. So she asked me, was anybody in the audience that was recording, did they have an iPhone? And I said, yes. Why? And she said, because that triggers my seizures. I didn't know this.
How though? Did she explain how it actually triggers her?
She doesn't know, but every time faithfully that there's an iPhone involved, she's had. And when I did my research, they actually have a warning.
Did you like do you go in the settings of the phone and it said something in the settings?
No, I actually went onto the Apple where you get an iPhone from, and it actually says it in very small print.
Look, right? How do you avoid that? Well, this event,
she gave me the permission to announce to everyone that, because it's a seizure risk for her, to please. I'm just trusting that people will have some decency and common sense.
Okay.
And if they can't follow it, that's a whole nother another story. But she's going to speak at this next event, and she is going to bring it up, because I felt that was something very important for people to know.
It is. I'm learning a lot right now.
And I'm an Android person, so I wouldn't even have known that.
You're an Android. See, I'm an iPhone. I'm an iPhone person. Like, we iPhones to the
no.
But geez, that is something else. Real quickly, I just want to tell people, if you are tuned in, look, my phone, Ray, it's locked. It's only private. So I can't even, I was trying to, I can't switch it from private. So right now, guys, it looks like, even though it is on Facebook, it's blocked for some reason. So you could check share the YouTube link. Shout out to Town Mama. I see you on the check-in. Okay. Share this live if you could. And so just wanted to say that real quick. Now, this is a lot.
Yeah.
This is a lot.
Yeah.
Oh my God, but it's great information though. It's very educational, because, a lot of people really, they hear one thing about epilepsy and they just determine like what they think it's all about, and don't even realize there's so much more that you have to learn. And there's so many people that do have epilepsy and should be educated. So I appreciate you for sharing this with us and everything that you do, which we're going to get into. So, actually, I asked you that already. So no, I didn't. Let me go back to this one. What is the biggest misconception that you face when stepping into the advocacy space when it comes to epilepsy?
One major thing that I've experienced when it comes, and this is with my son, people have this misconception that if you look normal, everything is fine with you. So if you look at my son, he is great looking kid. He takes care of himself. He's fit. He speaks well. But there was a lot of times people would meet him and they just expected too much, not knowing, because he looked normal. It's like, if you're not walking around, missing a body part or wearing a helmet on your head, people just think that you're fine, and their expectation, and I'm not even going to say they're wrong for it, but I want people to understand that when you're meeting someone, or when you're get to know the person and know what the situation is, don't just assume, and I had to, and I want to give credit to his dad too, because we worked really closely when it came to my son, and we had a lot of adjusting we had to do just to make sure he was safe and getting the proper care. Even when it came to school, he was going to a BOCES program.
Okay.
Just so he can get the help that he needed while he was in school, and being able to academically achieve, and also be safe when he had seizures, and also be understood, because when you have seizures, mental health is affected.
Now, let me ask you this. When you talk about safety, Ray got a question. Go ahead, man.
Speaking about your son before we move on, what was child life like for him? So, growing up, would he end up being able to play sports or anything like that?
He wasn't really into sports, but at that time, my son really didn't take his seizures too seriously. It was more of a frustration. It was more like, and that's still the case now, because now he's an adult. And when you become an adult, what you're able to do without having this type of condition, you're not able to do. Driving, intimacy, as we were just speaking about, living alone and having what you need to be safe if you have a seizure. While he was a kid, though, it was more like I was just a nagging mom that always wanted to protect him, and he just didn't get it. So it was a lot of arguing going on. It was a lot of, he wasn't understanding how serious his condition was. And it was tough. It was tough. Just think of a regular teenager and how difficult they could.
Please don't even talk to me about that right now, because I'm struggling.
But I would love one day to have him actually come on these shows and talk.
Yes, we would love that,
because I guarantee you he would probably love to. And now he's becoming more of an advocate. There was a time when I started Seize the Cure, he didn't even want anything to do with it. He didn't understand why I was doing it. And now it's so different.
Do you think that he didn't? Well, he knew at the time he had epilepsy. He didn't want nothing to do with it. Do you think it was a shameful thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Definitely. Okay. And this is why a lot of people don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Seizures are embarrassing. They're debilitating. Mm-hmm. They restrict you from living a normal life the way you want.
Wow.
And unfortunately, a lot of that comes from stigma. And a lot of that comes from the history of what seizures were believed to be. Mm-hmm. Before it was even known that epilepsy existed, the first seizures that happened, they looked at it as the devil possession.
Oh, wow.
And the way they treated it was through exorcism. And then when the world of psychiatry came into play, it was considered schizophrenia. And if you look at the history of schizophrenia, it has to do with delusions and hallucinations, which what do we think of when we hear that? Devil.
Right. Oh my God.
So it wasn't until recently, and when I say recently, I mean like maybe from when our great grandparents were around, that it was actually diagnosed as a medical condition, that you actually have diagnostic imaging done to confirm it.
Okay. Wow.
So and our teachers in our schools are not trained on it.
And the teachers in the schools that work with the kid, they're not trained at all?
No, they're not trained in seizure safety, and they are not trained in knowing what they're looking at. You know how many of our kids are probably diagnosed with other conditions because they weren't sent to a neurologist to rule out seizures?
Oh my God.
A lot. And then our law enforcement is not trained in seizure safety awareness and recognition of seizures. Some seizures they come out as being violent, or the person is being difficult. And it's not that they're being violent, it's they're having a seizure. Or it may be looked at as the person is high on drugs, especially in our urban community.
Well, let me ask you this. When you say that, or you're saying that the people that's going through the seizures at that moment don't look like they're having the seizures, but there's other things that they're doing.
Right.
Wow.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And this is why I incorporated seizures into, it's not just epilepsy anymore, because there's so many things that can cause seizures. And yeah.
Yeah. We're unpacking a lot here. This is a lot. If someone goes to the neurologist, what are they looking for to determine, hey, this is what it is? The person is not just acting out or, have mental health issues. How do you know that it's a seizure without seeing the person go through that?
Interestingly, the neurologist that I took my son to the first time, his first thing he did was he made him breathe rapidly for a few minutes, and he just watched him. And he tells me, I see seizure activity. Then he sent him for an EEG, which is they put electrodes on the brain on your whole head, and it's about 40 minutes for the first EEG.
Okay.
That EEG determines if there's any seizure activity going on. And his came back showing a lot of seizure activity. And then what they do is after that, they'll do an MRI to make sure there's no kind of brain damage or maybe like a structural situation that could be causing it, or where if there's anything on the different parts of the brain as to where the seizures are coming from. And then after that, they'll have you do a 3 to 5 day EEG, which they
3
do
to 5 days
in the hospital, where they do that every year once you're diagnosed. But they do that because they want to see when you're having the most activity. Some people have more activity, seizure activity in their sleep, which is very dangerous, which is also called SUDEP, puts you at risk for SUDEP, which is sudden unexpected death in epilepsy.
Oh, wow.
So Cameron Boyce, if you're the actor, the young actor from the, what is that show? The Disney, it's a Disney show that my son used to watch.
I know the name, but not 100%.
Yeah, I'm having a senior moment. I can't think of the show,
but the name is ringing a bell. Yes,
he died of SUDEP. He had epilepsy, and the parents never talked about it. So that's why they do these long EEGs to see when you're having the most seizure activity. Some people have it when they're more exercising or they're playing video games, or it's all different times that someone maybe have more seizures than other times.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot of, consistent medical testing as you have this condition.
Okay. All right. Now, when you say consistent testing, is it because things could change over time? Yes. So they got to constantly check to see.
Yes.
Is there? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I will say this, if you've heard of this, you may find that there are some people that will be seizure free for a long time, years, and then their seizures come back. So you're never cured of the illness, but you may go seizure free for a long time, and then it just comes back. You just never know, but you're never cured of it. So someone with epilepsy will always have an abnormal EEG, even if they're not having convulsions,
and even if they haven't had it for years.
Exactly.
Okay, that's good to know. I have family members that have epilepsy. Well, I guess, is it always epilepsy if you have seizures, or is it different names for it?
If you have epilepsy, it's epilepsy.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Now, if you have seizures, I know someone that when he drinks, that's when he has seizures, but he does not have epilepsy. So his diagnostic imaging did not confirm that he has epilepsy. It's very interesting. That's why I incorporated seizures more than just the epilepsy.
Just the epilepsy. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Because it's a lot more serious than we think and we know. And I just want to say I'm not a doctor.
Okay. Yeah. Let them know that
I am not a doctor. I never plan to be one at this point in my life. But I've all the years of doing this, I've met so many people in the field, experts, and I get all my information from medical experts, people who are living it. The best knowledge is through experience.
Yes.
Yes,
so absolutely. Because that's when you really learn everything hands-on, and you're going through it. You could study, and studying is good in the textbooks, but when you in it, 10 toes down in it, that's when you really get to really learn a lot about it. So I see you're very educated on a lot of stuff, which is good. Big shout out to Kim. Thank you for sharing. Thank you guys for checking in. And Amy, shout out for sharing. Who's Amy? Yeah, okay. Shout out to Amy. Thank you for sharing. So next question is about the mission and the impact. Talk to me about Seize the Cure and what the mission is, excuse me, and what makes it different from other awareness organizations out there.
Okay. Seize the Cure is strictly about spreading epilepsy awareness and seizure safety awareness. It's about advocating for people who have this condition or are affected by it, the parent, the caregiver. It's not about finding a cure. So it's called Seize the Cure because it's more about seizing what you have and trying to make the best from it. Okay. And the more knowledge you have, the more you can help take care of yourself or your child or your parent or whoever it is that's suffering from it. Matter of fact, just to throw out there, animals, dogs and cats actually have epilepsy too. It runs in dogs and cats.
I heard that before.
Yeah. Huh? Oh, see, I didn't even know that. I just learned that. I've never touched on it. But it's very interesting that it's a lot more common than I even knew it to be. Wow. And so my mission is basically this. I have a child with epilepsy. I've been through hell and back when it came to advocating for his safety, for him getting the proper education, getting bused to where he needed to be for school, medications, fighting doctors and insurances and management, because he's had seizures where there was damage to the apartment and they tried to charge me for it. And I had to fight, just to safeguard my home. So that way, if he does have one, there was a time that he had a seizure in the tub. And at that time, he was 6 feet tall, close to 230, 35 pounds. He was like a football player. And he seized and we couldn't get into the bathroom because the door was a push-in door. So he was blocking the door. Man. One time he had a seizure in the shower and the knobs went through his stomach. He still has the scars to this day. And this is just one of many injuries that he's had. And by the grace of God, he's okay. Okay. But I feel it's very selfish to go through something and be the type of person to gain the knowledge and start something like this and not share it with other people who may not know that they're not alone. And not only are you not alone, this is what to expect. When we took him to the doctor, we were never told that his seizures may turn to convulsions. Never knew that, because if we would have known that, then we would have known what to expect. I would have probably gotten some kind of training on what a convulsion even looked like, because when he first had it, I didn't know what was happening. And also know how it affects, the parent's life with working. Yes. It's a full-time job taking care of a condition like this.
What makes it a full-time job? And then I think, I don't know if Town Mama had a question or a statement, Ray. I know you put it up there. What makes it a full-time job? Is it like you're always waiting for it to happen? You're like, explain that to us.
Constantly the fear of when it's going to happen, doing things knowing that it can trigger it happening. Who's gonna, well, let me tell you something. When you have a child with a condition that has injuries attached to it, nobody wants to watch your kid, and his father and I went through a lot. His father at the time, he was going to school and staying with his dad at the BOCES program where his dad lived. And his dad lost so much time off of work, getting called in emergencies and constant hospital visits, constant ER, EMS, and the bills that came with that. It's a full-time job, and it requires a lot of regular doctor visits, regular medical diagnostic imaging, constant trial and error with medications. That's a huge factor. So I just feel like, the mission is to help other people. If I have an event that has 500 people and I reach one person, I did my job.
There you go. Okay. I want to circle back to something you said. You had to safeguard the house for your son. Explain to us, how do someone do that? So there might be somebody out there that don't know, you know what I mean? How do you safeguard?
If you have someone with a seizure, epilepsy or that has a tendency of having seizures, it's best to have carpeting, for a cushion in case they were to fall and hit their head. It won't be as traumatic as having a cement floor or tiling. Okay. Your bathrooms, all your doors actually should be able to be pulled out, versus to avoid what I went through with my son.
Pull out doors. Okay.
In some cases, if it's severe, you may want to try to get a hospital bed with the rails, so that way, if they have one, they don't fall out their bed. I'm just going off top of the head. Okay. Things with sharp edges, One thing I do is, if someone is diagnosed with epilepsy, I've had a number of people call me and say, what did you do to safeguard your home? And I would just give them pointers. Well, when I moved here, I got an apartment Florida. I forgot. I'm in New York.
You don't know. She said, "Where am I?"
I'm home. That's what it is. I don't want to go back to Florida. When I moved to Florida, I made sure I got a first floor apartment to avoid him having a seizure on the stairs, because that's another thing. If you have stairs, it's a risk. Wow. So, it's so much that goes into it.
Yeah, it's a lot of adjusting your lifestyle.
Exactly. And I feel that if a child or anyone that you're taking care of is diagnosed with this, I think there should be a social worker that comes out to the house and gives these pointers based on where you live and what your situation is to avoid injury risk. Because that's what it's about, the injury with the seizures.
Right. That's a good one, to have social workers come out and evaluate, just to, it's being proactive, what I mean, making sure that, I like that. I think that's
I don't think it's gonna happen, but
hey, you never know. See, Secure might be the one that make this all happen. You never know. Okay.
That involves politics and healthcare system. You know how that goes.
Oh yeah. But hey, listen, nothing is impossible.
No,
you
it's
never
not.
know.
Yeah.
Nothing is impossible. How does your organization support those living with epilepsy beyond just raising awareness?
Support. When you have a child that has any condition, not just epilepsy, any condition, it's a crippling feeling. You feel helpless. You don't have the answer. Your children look to you for the answers. And when you don't have the answer, it's almost like you feel guilty. And I have a story to piggyback off of answering that question. I was supposed to do an event in March of 2020 in the Bronx. There was a program director at a school, and she told me I could come in and do the program. She had no idea what epilepsy was. She had no idea what seizures are. And of course, COVID hit the same week that we were supposed to do that program.
Okay.
And we figured we rescheduled, but as you know, COVID went a lot longer than we thought it would.
I feel like it's still going on. Okay.
And leading into me moving to Florida, make a long story short, she called me and was crying, left a voice message that her son started having seizures and was diagnosed with epilepsy. And she said, God brought you into my life because I remember meeting you and I didn't know nothing about this.
Wow.
So she's actually actively working with me on C-Secure.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
We work very
Okay. Well,
closely
that's
together.
good. That's good.
So
okay.
it's a moral support for parents who are struggling taking care of their child.
Okay. Oh, that's good. That's good. Because, you're going to need a community, a village of people.
Which you never do get. Doesn't work that way. Which is why advocacy for the parent, you have to be able to be mentally strong and able to take care of your mental health to parent a child with this kind of condition.
Which brings me to my next question. I'm glad that you said that. Do you ever feel emotionally drained by the weight of the mission? And how do you refuel yourself to stay focused?
All the time.
Okay.
I'm always drained, and more mental drain because I'm always thinking of what needs to be done. And I just want everything to happen when I think it should happen.
I think we all are like that, though.
And I kind of got to take that mentality of such as what you have from the ground up. You got to start from the ground and move it up.
You already know.
But, we want it a lot faster than it's going to happen. And it has grown so much. So I am very blessed, to be able to do this and have the backing that I have. But me personally, I do get drained. I'm drained now, but it's a good drain, I think. But I've become very spiritual. I pray every morning. I pray when I'm going through things. I ask God for guidance. I pray for God to stop me from, choking somebody out if they, take me to that level that I can,
calm me down. Like, Lord, Jesus, please. Take the wheel.
Yeah, you saving them or me right now? But, mental health is very important.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
I'm doing it though. I'm making it work, and I have a great team behind me.
That's good. Who's your team? You want to shout them out, tell them who they are?
Amy and Liz, who came with me, are they're my sisters. They're not my friends. They're my sisters. They're on my board of directors as well.
Oh, okay.
So
all right.
I have a great team, a board of directors. My son's father is one of them on the team.
Nice.
We are working very hard on this event. And of course, this is the first event that I have a real team. So it's a lot of learning experience going on with it. But we're going to keep building up, and we're doing it.
Okay. All right. That's good. And shout out to the team who's in the building. All right. They here. What keeps you going when you feel overwhelmed? Like, all of this stuff, all of these things happening. What is keeping you? I know you said you pray. Is it just praying, or is there other things that you do?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know. I think I'm at the point that I'm just so used to doing 10 things at one time that I don't know how to relax. I get people
like me.
I get people telling me that all the time. You need to relax. How do I do that? Like, can you initiate something so I can relax? Can you provide the solution?
I love that. You better tell. No, I'm not looking ready to my husband. No.
I caught that face.
Look, you caught it. No, he be putting in work. Yeah. It's just that, when we're so used to working and going hard, and we just, we have a mission and we have a plan, that you got to grind.
Yeah, and some things just fall on you. It's not anybody's fault. It's just some things have to be you. And it gets very overwhelming, the pressure. I had said, and certain words are just triggers for me. When people are always telling me, you're so strong. You're so strong. You're the strongest person I know. It kind of puts a level of expectation that I'm supposed to always be strong, or kind of like, how our men, especially our Black men, are taught, you don't cry. If you cry, you're weak. I'm not a man, but I've gotten so accustomed to hearing how strong I am that I feel like if I break down, there's something wrong with me.
There you speaking for me too. So keep talking, please.
There's certain words that trigger me. Superwoman, superhero, super person, super anything. Like, don't call me that, because I'm human.
You feel.
I have feelings. Yes. Just because, I may not say what I'm feeling, but my face will say it. I'll tell you that much. But just because I'm not sitting here, going around crying and breaking down, and, there's very few people I will let see that. Okay. People I could trust that aren't going to take advantage of that. And they're going to understand. And who I talk to, I know how to place. If you're going to reach out, make sure it's someone that could relate to you.
Yes.
Too many times we're talking to people that can't relate to our situation,
or they don't care,
and they're not going to care because they don't relate. This is how, and this is how it works with the cause. I find in doing this for so long, people don't really care unless it hits home.
Right. That's so true.
So it's there has to be some kind of I don't know, which is why I said in the beginning, I don't know who Tara is, because I've been wearing so many different hats for so long, and I have to constantly adjust to each hat that I'm wearing or each role that I'm playing accordingly. Right. But if I were to sit back and lose all of this, let's just say I wasn't a mother, I wasn't a student in school, I didn't have C's to cure, I wasn't an artist, and Tara was just Tara. I have no idea who Tara is. I know I'm a good person. I know I'm a good person. I'm caring. I know my characteristics.
Okay.
But I don't know who Tara is. And I'm in the process of learning who Tara is. And it's going to reflect in my music. I'm losing. Let me not say I've lost. I'm losing people as we speak.
And why is that?
Because when you start doing for you and making changes in your life for your betterment of your mental health and your peace, and people don't understand that, they start calling you a bitch, or they say you changed,
or you think you're too good, or
it's not that I didn't change. I'm the same person. The problem is I was sitting there living my life in accordance to what you wanted. And now that I'm falling back and talking about me, it's a problem. I'm going through that to this day.
It's funny you say that, because it's so crazy how, first, to back up a little bit, how being that really strong person, it makes it difficult for you to be vulnerable. You have to always put, have that image because like you said, the expectation. And sometimes people don't even ask if you're okay because they just assume that you're okay because they think that you're just strong and you're gonna be okay. That's number one. And then, oh God, because you just hitting a lot of points here that I can relate to. So I totally get it. And losing people because you got a mission and you got a purpose. Some people are here today and just living and they haven't even found what their purpose is in life. So when you're following that, you are going to lose people because sometimes people just want you to just run lost, just doing anything that has nothing to do with what you was meant to do. I even though I know that this is something that, it's not something you asked for. It's not something that your son asked for, but I believe that everybody do have a purpose. It was meant for you to be in this place to help yourself, help your son, and help others. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And if I'm not right within myself, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and shout out to Malia, and that's my baby girl. Like, she's looking at me as her role model.
Yes.
And kids pick up a lot. And there's things that she's caught and told me, and I'm like, well, yeah, you should have told me that. But I have to look at myself as her role model. I don't want her to go through the stuff that I've been through.
Right.
When you've lived your life for so long, living for other people, and they start depending on you to be their joy. And then when you start to give yourself some joy, now you're in conflict with their insecurities and their agenda. So now I don't cut people off. What I do is I say, I'm just going to place you somewhere different in my life. What happens is that's not good enough. So then it becomes, okay, well, you know what? If you want to walk away from my life, that's fine. That's your loss, not mine, because you're choosing that. And I respect what you choose for yourself. But I'm going to respect myself and choose for me. And if you want to think I'm a bitch about that, that's fine.
You have to choose you. And there's nothing wrong with choosing you.
And
because they're choosing them.
Right. And I'm still struggling with it. Don't get me wrong. I'm still trying to find
I think we all are, though, in a sense. But that's creating boundaries, right? I think that's a big, huge thing that a lot of us suffer with, because sometimes we want, especially as women, we're nurturing people who want to love and give and take care of. And then you end up pouring from an empty cup. And now it turns into resentment. Now you're pissed off. And then you start saying, well, you made the choice. You could have said no, but you didn't want to say no. You want to help people, right? You know what I mean?
And I'm going to say something real personal. I've never said on any interview. Okay. There was a time when I moved to Florida, I was on 12 different medications between, underlying conditions and as well as depression, anxiety.
Okay.
I finally woke up one day and I said, hold on a second. I know that this is a problem. And I know that this is a problem. How many medications am I going to put myself on because I don't want to make the change to just... So I said, screw this. I took myself off of all my depression and anxiety medications.
Good for you. Y'all better clap it up for her. What y'all doing? Give her.
And that's beautiful. I know I need, and I was in therapy for a while because I had to kind of sort what I was going to do and how I was going to do it with a clear mind.
Okay.
And I started slowly implementing these changes. And now I'm strong enough to deal with the backlash. Because now I'm like, I'm confident in my decisions. I'm not making this decision because I'm feeding into you being upset, or I'm not making this decision because I'm worried about how this one's going to feel and that one's going to feel it. No, I'm making a conscious decision and I'm doing it with confidence. Yes. So no matter what comes at me, I stand my ground.
Okay. I like that. That's right.
So that's right. Yeah, I had to really adjust things with my own personal life.
But that's
good
for
me to be, and it's interesting. My son now, he's, today 23, and we talk a lot. And he actually gives me some really good advice sometimes, or he'll make like a little slick comment here and there. And I'm like, okay, wait, he knows what's going on. Okay.
Listen, you'll be surprised. We can learn a lot from our kids, even though I know it's different times and, but they still are very smart.
Yeah.
And, it's my kids give me advice too. So it's nothing wrong with listening. And they know you very well. They've been with you your whole life, their whole life, I should say.
But, you know, I can only be responsible for my own joy.
Absolutely.
Not anybody else's. And if you put if you make someone else responsible for your joy, you're going to be miserable your whole life.
There you go.
And I don't know, but I'm not scared to say my age. I'm 44. I don't have time. Like right now, I'm like at the midpoint. If I don't get it together now, it's over. Before I know it, I'm going to be in my 80s.
Listen, this is your life. You got to live it. You have to live it. I agree with you 100%, 100%, 1,000%. Okay. I love it. I love it. If young Tara could see you now, what do you think she would say?
Probably exactly what I was just saying, but like before I started making those changes. You said I could curse, right? Or she probably be like,
say what you do, say it with your chest.
She'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're too old to be dealing with this.
Wow.
You don't have to deal with this. All you have to do is be born and die. In between that, live. Find your purpose, live your life, be happy. Stop worrying about this one and that one and all this other crap.
Right.
When there's, when there's a will, there's a way, and there's God. So, yeah, I don't think the young Tara would respect a lot of the things that I've allowed for so long. So
that's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep. Okay. All right. So the moment we all been waiting for, you have an event coming up. Yeah. Yes. But that was some good. Listen, I enjoyed this. Dropping some gems.
You actually asked some very good questions.
Thank you.
And, I like not knowing the questions ahead of time.
Yeah. No, we want it to be organic.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to look at the camera for this one because Seize the Cure for Epilepsy is throwing a nice, huge event called Seize the Music Shake Epilepsy. It's next Saturday, June 28th. It starts at 1:00. We are having performances. We have vendors. We have the major sponsors who will be there. We also have media coverage. We're going to have food. We also have 2 doctors coming out to speak, as well as an EMS worker. And they're going to talk about seizure safety and epilepsy and seizures and its risk connected to puberty and pregnancy. So it's 5 hours of entertainment and education and fun. Beautiful. So just come out. It's free admission. You cannot beat free. So just come out. We are asking for support. And what I mean by support is whether it be donations or you wanting to be a part and contributing something to the event. There's always stuff needed. Even though it's a week away, we still need things.
And tell people how they can support you, like in what ways?
Well, we do need food. I mean, it's 5 hours and it's a free event. So we can always use, there's never too much food and drinks, especially in the summertime. We also need monetary donations. We have Cash App. We also have Zelle. And the Cash App is Seize the Cure. Very simple. SEIZE, the Cure.
Can we put that on the screen there, please? Yeah. Just the proper, so everybody can see it if they want.
I have vendors and support people that do all different kinds of things. There's always room for you to support and also get the recognition that you deserve for what you're doing. So I would just say, reach out to me. Don't think for a second what you do cannot be incorporated into this, whether it be donation or coming out to the event to do something. We need volunteers too, to work the event. So by all means, I will tell you where to find me on Facebook and Instagram. It's TJ Vida for both. And we also have a Facebook and Instagram page, Seize the Cure. You can contact me on my personal phone. Just text first, 347-797-8938. And then, of course, email. It's seizethecure, 4 epilepsy@gmail.com.
All right. Y'all heard it here or from the ground up. Listen, guys, make sure that did you give your social media?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, there we go. It's up there. And now, real quick, I just want to make sure that is the Cash App, because you said that okay, all right. So that's about to be put on the screen too, guys. Her Cash App, if you want to donate to Seize the Cure. June 28th, it is going down. So, okay. Fix it. June 28th is going down. Listen, this is for a major cause, and it's I love it, and I love what you're doing. I'm so glad that, okay, great. I'm so glad that I got to talk with you and sit down and do that, because I learned a lot too. You know what I mean? Very informative. You're very informative. Very, you educated all of us on what this is. So if you guys come across this, make sure you share it. Make sure you reach out and make sure you follow her, because she does this on a regular basis. And how often? Just tell them that really quickly.
Right now, it's been one time a year, but it's probably going to go into 2 to 3 times very soon.
Okay.
I am hoping and I expect that From the Ground Up comes to one. And not only that, Lady Miz, who's an artist herself.
She want to pull me. Everybody be trying to pull me in the artist zone, and I mean,
sure.
Yeah.
So yes, you need to bless the mic.
You want me to
bless the mic? I don't care about anybody else. I'm telling you,
okay, maybe one day I'll do it.
Maybe one day. Right?
Okay.
But yes, my phone number again is 347-797-8938.
All right. So he's going to put that up on the screen for those who are watching, but for those who are listening, make sure that you reach out to her. She said text first. Her Cash App is also up there. If you want to donate for this cause, you could be somebody that want to help, somebody that's going through it. Listen, there's a lot of positive things about what Tara is doing. So please tap in. Again, that number is 347-797-8938. You can also again find her on Facebook, TJ Vida, VIDA. Make sure you follow her. And that's on all platforms, right?
Yes.
On all platforms. Follow her. Stay in tune to what she has going on. We'll be sharing and supporting as well. I think what did she say? Oh, no, that's the other one. Okay. And be sure to follow From the Ground Up Productions to stay in tune, because we also will continue to share her stuff as well. Now, I got one thing. I want you to finish the sentence for me, okay?
Okay.
The fight, let me break it. Let me go back. This fight chose me because
I'm going to fight back.
I like that. That's right.
I like that you threw me off with that one.
That's what makes it we got to shake it up a little bit. Hey, what's up, Doug? Oh, I'm so glad Doug pulled in. Doug is one of the promoters. And I know you said that you can't make it tonight, but he does different events. It's going down tonight. Right, pull that up on the screen. It's going down. I wish I could see it because the thing is blocking. It's going down at the Coliseum, y'all. 15 South Broadway in White Plains. We got G-Dep that's going to be blessing the stage. We also got Ron Browse that's going to be blessing the stage. And there's going to be a lot of other celebrities up in the building. And y'all know From the Ground Up Productions is going to be there. Lady Miz and Ray. And I'm pulling up with my team and my people. And we turning up. And not only is we turning up, we supporting the artists. Like, listen, G-Dep is back and doing this thing. Ron Browse is hitting the streets heavy. It's going down, y'all. You know what it is. Listen. White Plains. Pull up tonight in White Plains at the Coliseum. Anybody out there who want any tickets, I got 5 pair of tickets that I'm giving away, which means one person could bring a guest. If you see this before tonight, okay, you can hit me up and I will tell you how you could get the tickets. This is only happening on From the Ground Up Productions, baby. So make sure y'all hit me up, Lady Miz. I'm on Facebook. Where am I at? I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I'm on TikTok. And yeah, my business number is 845-500-9625. If y'all want them tickets and you want to pull up and have a dope night tonight, if you in the New York area, make sure you hit your girl up. It's going down at the Coliseum tonight. All right. This the champagne. What is it? Bring it back up. Bring it up. Bring it up. Bring it up. All right. Isn't it? Champagne summer, baby. All right, we toasting. We celebrating. We celebrating Tara, okay? For the epilepsy. Seize the cure, y'all. It's going down. Follow her. Stay connected. And I think we are going to end the show. But wait, before we end the show, I'm sorry. One last thing. I know we put it up there, but please let's give the address. You said it's a free event.
I'm glad you said that. I thought to myself, wait, I didn't say where it's going to be at.
Yes. And I have it here. I was like, wait.
So it's going to be in the Bronx at the Sonia Sotomayor Community Center, and that is at 1000 Rosedale Avenue.
Okay, 1000 Rosedale Avenue in the Bronx. It starts at 1 o'clock. It ends at 6. So pull up early. Y'all don't want to miss the great entertainment, but also the education, the networking in the building that is going to be there. And there's so many people and so many companies that's going to be pulling up. So make sure you guys come through, okay? That's the community center, right?
Yeah.
All right, y'all. We're going to end the show. Thank everybody who tuned in and thank anybody who comes across this. Make sure you share it. All right. Share. This is From the Ground Up. It's only one way to go from here. I'm Lady Miz and we out. Peace.
We hope you enjoyed your time with From the Ground Up Productions. We'll see you next time. Be sure to add our channel to your Roku list and listen to us on all streaming platforms.
From the ground up. From the ground up. There's only one way to go from here.